Jarrett Brooks is a 16-year-old lad standing 6 foot tall. He's a guy that is into baseball and very much into wrestling. Jarrett, like myself, comes from a family of 7 and was also, like myself, brought up in the Latter-day Saints church. The members of this church are more commonly referred to as Mormons. He is a teenager that is affectionately described by his mother as really affectionate, not shy of giving hugs, always joking, the type of lad that's always making everybody laugh in the evenings around the dinner table, and a type of guy that really is loved and adored by anyone that has ever had the pleasure of meeting him. The family was set to celebrate and enjoy the 4th of July. But leading up to the 4th, on the 3rd of July, Jarrett reportedly took his father's truck out off-roading when he was previously told not to. And while off-roading, he managed to damage his father's truck and as a result was grounded. Jarrett reportedly woke up the morning of the 4th of July at 6:15 and asked his mum if he was still grounded for off-roading his father's truck when he was told not to. His mother replied with yes. And after that, Jarrett just simply walked away. She later realised that he wasn't in the house and just thought that he had taken his dog out for a walk, as that was the only reason during his grounding that he was allowed to leave the house. But a few minutes later she realised that the dog was still at home, because not long after they realised that Jarrett had disappeared, his father checked his CCTV and realised that the cameras had caught Jarrett going into his father's safe, retrieving a firearm with ammo, then leaving his house. It is known that Jarrett had plans to celebrate with friends the 4th of July, and this is one of the reasons why when he woke up that morning he asked his mother if he was still grounded from what he'd done the day before, and his mother said yes. Which begs the question, who exactly were these plans with? What were they planning to do while carrying out their plans? And why were they so important to Jarrett that day? And also, taking all of that into account, why would he need a weapon? A neighbour states that they saw Jarrett the morning of his disappearance walking through a field. They then said he walked onto a nearby road and was seen by them pacing up and down that road. The neighbour then got into their vehicle a few minutes later, drove up that road, only to find that again Jarrett had disappeared. The neighbour states, and so do investigators, that for Jarrett to have disappeared, he would have had to have been picked up by somebody on that road, because it was only a few minutes between the neighbour seeing him pacing up and down that road to the neighbour driving up that road themselves, to which when they did, they found that Jarrett was no longer there. The Navajo sheriffs treated and refused to treat his disappearance as anything other than a simple runaway. Whether or not that's how they still treat his disappearance, I don't know. But at the start, that's how they did treat it, even though they knew that he had left with a firearm. His father is quoted as saying, "The National Centre for Missing and Endangered Children won't do anything because he left with a gun. And a Amber Alert also hasn't been issued because he is considered a runaway rather than missing and endangered. So I must make it clear The resources I was able to obtain were through my own connections with law enforcement as a member of the Joseph City Fire District, and not from the investigation itself. Since Jarrett's disappearance, there have been many sightings, but nothing has come of anything. And as a result, over a year later, Jarrett has not been found. His parents and his entire family still hold out hope that he is alive and well somewhere out there, and beg for him to return home. If somehow you are out there, Jarrett, and you are still alive and well, and somehow you find yourself to this video, please contact your parents and let them know that you are okay. Even if you don't want to go home, let somebody know, either your parents or the police, that you are alive and well and safe. Sadly, the most likely outcome is that Jarrett is no longer with us. And if you are watching this and you know something about his disappearance or his untimely demise, then please contact somebody, because his family, his loved ones, everybody that loved and adored Jarrett deserves peace and closure over his disappearance. They deserve to know the truth, and you need to let them know the truth. It's hard for me to express any thoughts and opinions at this point in time because I'm new to the case. I've only just found out. For those that already subscribe to me, if you did see it, you'll know that a few days ago I put out a call on my channel, on the community section of my channel, asking for any cases. Is there any cases that people want me to look into, to comment on, to talk about? And I said, give me names, dates, locations, and I'll see what I can do. I'll look into them. And one of the names that I got was Jarrett's. And I started looking into him, and I've only really spent a few hours over the past few days looking into Jarrett and his case. That's because I've been dealing with some personal issues and I've had a few things to sort out and get through. But Jarrett, when I started looking into him, as you've heard in the video, I realised that there's a lot of similarities with him and me and my family and the way that we were brought up. We both come from a family of 7. I have 4 sisters, 2 brothers, and I was also brought up in the Latter-day Saints church, and as you saw in the video, the members of that church are more commonly referred to in life, in public, in society, as Mormons. I was brought up in that church. I know how it can be. So there's not a lot I can say yet, because I don't know enough to be able to formulate a theory, thoughts and opinions well enough to express them at this time. But there is one thing I want to hit up upon, and again I need to stress that I don't know a lot about Jarrett and the way that he was thinking and feeling at the time, what was going on in his personal life. I don't know anything about that, but there is one issue I want to talk about really quickish, and that's the fact that he took a gun with him. Before he left his house, he went into his father's safe, opened it, retrieved a weapon and ammo, and then left the house with the gun and the ammo. It's widely known, like again I said in the video, that Jarrett had plans that day, the 4th of July, and the day before he off-roaded his father's truck, damaged it in the meantime, and as a result was grounded. And he knew he was grounded by what everybody says about him, by the way that they talk about him. He was a very intelligent lad. He wasn't stupid or anything like that, and I don't mean that as an insult, I really don't. But he wasn't. He knew that he was grounded, but the plans that he had on the 4th of July, the day after he off-roaded his father's truck, was that important that he still woke up that morning and asked his mum if he was still grounded, to which she said yes. And then everything else happened after. He went, got a gun, ammo, left the house, was seen walking through a field, pacing up and down a road nearby. When the neighbour that saw him do that drove up that road a few minutes later, he had disappeared. He could have easily walked off the road and, I don't know, ran. Maybe that's possible, I'm not sure, like across the field or wherever you live. And, you know, that's why he went on that road when the neighbour went up there. The neighbour, I think his parents as well, and I think investigators too, kind of saying that for the neighbour, the time it took for the neighbour, between the neighbour seeing him on the road pacing to the neighbour getting in their vehicle and driving up that road was only a few minutes in between. And by the time the neighbour got there, Jarrett was gone. So the thing, for him to get away that fast, he would have had to have jumped into a car, a vehicle of some sort, either picked up by a stranger or by somebody he knew and then left that way. Maybe he did. Maybe he did. I'm not sure. Again, I don't know too much at this time. Maybe he did. But the issue that I really want to talk about is the weapon. You're looking at a few scenarios here, and if I've left one out, please let me know in the comments below. I think the parents hold this theory the highest above all the other theories out there, that the situation he was going to be going into he knew was dangerous and for some reason needed a weapon to protect himself. Begs the question, what were the plans, right? Why were they so important? Who were they with? Were the plans actually dangerous? The things that him and his friends or the people that he was going to be with that day, the things that they were getting up to, were they that dangerous that he needed a pistol to protect himself? Maybe. It's a possibility. Another possibility, not to try and destroy hope and take any hope away from his family, that's not why I'm doing this. I'm trying to get his name back out there the best way that I know how. And again, I'm not trying to take hope away, but one of the possibilities that not a lot of people are talking about or haven't spoke about that much is that he could have taken the weapon and left the house the way that he did to do harm to himself, and he's just not been found. And it is possible that he could sadly, because he's been gone for so long, the most likely outcome to this situation is that he is no longer with us. And if that is the case, he could easily be close to his home and he's just not been found. It happens all the time. People go missing, they get hurt, whether that's intentional by their own hands or by somebody else's hands, or unintentional, an accident. People leave the houses, they get hurt and they're not found, and when they are found later down the line, they've turned out to be only a few feet away from the houses, a few yards away from the houses, not that far away at all. Just during the searches, because of the situation, whether it's the weather outside or physically where their remains are, they've just not been found, they've been missed. It happens. That's a possibility. Not to take hope away again, but we have to be realistic about things. He's been gone for over a year. The most likely outcome is that he's no longer with us. Whether that's by his own hands or by somebody else's hands. I have to surmise, when you take that into account, again, the most likely outcome, because he had a weapon, is that if he's hurt, he probably did it to himself. Because you think about it, if he's got a weapon on him, he goes into a situation that's dangerous, that other person has a weapon, assuming that other person is slower at drawing their weapon and he's faster at drawing his, then the likely outcome is that he's got the weapon. You know, he's managed to defend himself. I don't know how to explain it. I don't think I'm doing that well of a job explaining it, but I think you get the gist of what I mean. He had the weapon. The odds are that he's probably been able to defend himself if he's gotten into a situation that has resulted in him needing to use that weapon. If he's no longer with us, then the odds are that he might have done it himself. I don't know. I might be 100% wrong. Again, I don't know enough to form a solid opinion or theory. And because of that, I might be 100% wrong on this. It's just I'm trying to look at things logically. And again, if I'm missing things out, I'm not doing it on purpose, so please tell me in the comments below. If I am, if you've got other theories that make sense, tell me in the comments below as well. But the two likely theories are that he's left the house knowing that he's going to be in a situation that's going to be dangerous and he needs protection. But saying that, would he have always taken the pistol with him? Or did he only take it because he was grounded? Like, if he was actually able, without being grounded, to leave the house that day, would he have taken the pistol with him? Did that influence his decision to take the pistol? And if it did, maybe it's because he was having bad thoughts, depressed or whatever, because surprisingly enough, not everybody shows the symptoms of depression when they're severely depressed. Because I know his family's been saying that wasn't him. That's not him. From experience, guys, you don't always see it. Odds are you'd probably never see it coming, to be honest. And it happens, and that's why people taking their own lives, it's almost always a shock to the families, because they didn't see it coming. Because you don't always see the symptoms and effects on a person that is suffering from severe depression. They're very good at hiding it, and I know that from experience. Again, I'm not saying that is exactly what happened. I'm just looking at the likely outcomes of him leaving the house with a weapon. Again, if I've missed something out, or you think that something needs to be included, tell me in the comments. I'll try and put it into the next video I do on Jarrett, because this is not going to be the only video that I do for Jarrett, because I feel like I've connected with him and his story because of because of our similar backgrounds. So this won't be the only video I do on Jarrett. At some point there is going to be another one, but I just wanted to point out the issue with him taking the gun and the ammo. The likely outcomes of that. In my head, again, unless I'm missing something, there's only two reasons why he would. To protect himself because he knew he was going into a dangerous situation. Three reasons really. Two in one. To protect himself because he knew he was going into a situation, a dangerous one. To protect somebody else because of the same reasons, or to do harm to himself. So that's three reasons. I can't think of any other reason why, unless he was planning on robbing somebody and never returning. I don't know. But I'm just throwing it out there. That's probably not at all true, but it's the only logical things that I can come up with, without knowing. Again, I don't know a lot about the situation, his mindset, the way that he was feeling. I doubt I'll ever know that, because apparently his family don't know. So I doubt I'll ever know that, but I don't know too much about the case and what's been going on. I'm going to try and make contact with the family, but not directly. I'm going to try and make contact with friends, people involved with the family, because I don't want to bother the family, because apparently, again, I'm new to the case. Apparently they've had some trouble with online sleuths and keyboard warriors already, because of certain things going on. That's not what I'm about. I'm not about the drama. I don't care about that. I care about Jarrett. Just like I don't care about the drama surrounding Sebastian Rogers. I care about Sebastian and him being okay. Sadly, he's probably not. But I care about him. I don't care about the BS and the drama. I don't care about the BS and the drama surrounding Jarrett. I care about that 16-year-old lad. And hopefully he's okay. Sadly, the odds are that he's not. but hopefully he is, and hopefully he can come home. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for spending your time with me, listening to me and listening to Jarrett's story. If you haven't already, please hit like, and again, if you haven't already, even though you don't have to, but it would be greatly appreciated, please hit subscribe, and I will see you all again next time. Bye bye.